Welcome back to the Reynolds Team.
Good. I'm glad someone else does that.
Welcome back to the Reynolds Team podcast. My name is Scott Reynolds, and I have a special guest, Michelle Moss. And today we're going to talk about some great tips on home improvements, tips and tricks on home improvements. Mm-hmm. And before we get started, if you would do me a big favor and smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, it would be a great big help. Last little plug is if you have any questions or you have any comments, just put comments below. We love giving back replies. So let's go ahead and jump into it. What are some of the things that you're getting questions from sellers or buyers on home improvements?
I just did one today where we walked through the sellers planning on getting their home ready for sale, and they wanted our opinion on what were the most important things to do, and they had a kitchen that was partially updated.
Yep.
And they wanted to know if they finished the kitchen, would it be enough bang for the buck? And I said yes. I mean, any time you do a kitchen or a bathroom, that is bang for your buck, as long as you kind of stay within the norm, so to speak.
Right, not highly customized.
Yeah, don't do super customized, don't do super expensive in a less expensive neighborhood. You know, if you're looking for a return on investment, make with wise choices rather than being really extravagant in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom in a normal residential neighborhood.
Generally speaking, I mean, you get the largest percentage return on the kitchen and baths.
Kitchens and bathrooms, yes.
Right?
Yeah. Kitchens and bathrooms. You'll never get 100% return.
Right.
That's just not feasible. I don't think there's anywhere in the country where you do. I believe that the average is about 80%.
Yeah. So
bear that in mind. You're never going to see the 100% return, but you will get the most return on kitchens and bathrooms, especially the master bathroom.
Right. And some people, they're wanting to do it to enjoy the home for 3 or 5 years, and then they know they're going to sell, but they don't want to live in the house for 3 or 5 years with everything outdated.
Right.
So people are doing that as well.
Yes. Yeah. And that again is making the wise choices. If this is your forever home, you can go ahead and put that sunshine yellow tile up. Yep. If you love it, you do you. But if you're planning on selling it in 3 to 5 years, you might want to consider either you're going to redo the tile, or you're going to say, hey, I've got to go with something that I like, but maybe appeals more to the masses, so that you're not having to re-renovate, because everybody knows that it's that one house that's got like the finishes that were really super individual and, Crayola crayon stuff all over the place, and it takes forever to sell.
But so some of the things I'm starting to see is more where the kitchen cabinets, like the island will be a different color. It's been going on for a couple of years.
Yep.
But the island would maybe, the current thing I'm seeing is like green.
Yeah, green's in color. So this year, outgo the grays. Bye. So long, gonna miss you. Not. Then coming back in are your jewel tones. So your blues, your greens, your reds. Believe it or not, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of red down in Florida, but lots of greens and lots of the darker blues. Not so much the sea blue, but the brighter, more rich colors. The maroons are back. So hello 90s, hunter green and maroon is back.
I never could get into the gold fixtures.
Oh, I love those.
I never could do it.
I love them. They have such... Okay, remember when we just walk into a house and you go, oh, brass? No, now if you can do the brushed brass or the gold, it's a warm tone. And being in Florida, we generally tend to OD on cool tones. Mm-hmm. So lots of silvers and all that other stuff. So putting a warm tone, especially with a green, looks fantastic. They play off each other really well. And it just has that little extra spark. But if you were totally opposed, then the darkers, the pewters, those sort of things are really in.
What about kind of moving gears into, I know, roofs are not the sexiest thing.
Yeah, the ugly stuff.
They can be to certain people. I mean,
yes.
So obviously with today with insurance and everything, the age of roof is super important. And, if you're running up against a house that's 18, 19, 20 years old or the roof's that old, you will get a lot of that money back on the
roof.
return.
Roof is one of those things that you probably will get almost 100% back, because it's not a high ticket item depending on the size of the house and what roof you choose. If you can afford it, go metal. It is the choice. It's the favorite of the insurance companies, and they really do last the longest. That you can do anything to that roof. Stay away from the darker colors or the colored roofs. They don't age well, or they don't age as well. I know we had a house that we had a real struggle getting rid of. We're like getting it sold because of the color of the roof. So be careful with that. And then the other big thing, if you're willing to put out the pennies or the dollars in this case, and accept or take the insurance cut for it, windows. Yeah. So Florida is known for those, in some places, those little jalousie windows or like the single pane aluminum. If you want the biggest bang for your buck, those windows and roof are going to give you a reward, not only while you're living there, because your insurance will be much lower, but houses with the full envelope. So they've got the hurricane rated garage door. They've got the impact glass. They've got the newer roof. All of those things, if you pay attention to making sure all of your outside envelope is sealed, your insurance is going to be much lower. And in this day and age, insurance is brutal. So, yeah.
I learned so much about roofs when we were building. And what are the metal roof where it's
standing seam?
Standing seam.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was all sophisticated because I knew the difference between the two different roofs. Then the guy's like, "Do you want the 1 inch?" I'm going to call them fins, but they're probably not called fins.
No.
But the 1 inch fin or 1.5 inch fin.
Right.
And I'm like, and what was the cost difference? It was like $4,000 or $5,000 and for the roof more. And I'm like, why would I do that? But I went, and he said, he was a good salesperson. He said, drive by this house and this house. And he gave me two houses where they had different ones, rather than showing you a sheet of metal and you're like, oh, well, that's fine. But when you see it on the house, it looked a little bit more bold. It gave the house a whole different look.
More character. Yep. More character, more emphasis. It does make a big difference.
Doesn't make it a better roof or nothing.
Nope. The insurance company's not going to care. That is purely aesthetics. Yep.
But I didn't even know to think about that.
Right.
I already knew the secondary water barrier and all those things, but I knew metal would be. But
you were new construction, so you didn't have to worry about the ties. So if you're an older house, check into the third nail or the clips.
Yes.
Those can be done for like $1,500. There's lots of vendors that do it, and that'll increase or decrease your insurance significantly having that extra piece done.
And I would put, like, if you're already in your home and you already have a place to live, obviously, then I would you can save a lot of money by shopping around those components, because you're not really tied to time.
Nope.
And it's unbelievable the variance in pricing of the same product.
Yep. Get 3 good solid quotes from people that you've been referred to. We have a ton of vendors in the area. It's really important to have somebody who you can check their work, make sure that they've got some good references. Those things are important. Do your homework, because sometimes cheapest is not the best.
And we enjoy this. So, like, even if we could be a quarterback or help you, point you in the right direction, or if you want to bounce anything off, don't hesitate to reach out.
Ask us any question you like.
You can almost, like, if you're really thinking about like a big remodel, you could almost get if it was going to stay the same footprint, you could get things measured and almost just shop it around.
Yep.
You can make where it's not so painful.
Right. The other thing to do is really make sure you have a good rapport with your contractor, because they may be the cheapest, they may come well referred, but if you are someone who's very particular about what you want done, and you're not necessarily going to be the easiest, most cooperative client, and you know yourself well enough to know that, make sure you have a good rapport, because if you're going to be making changes, you want someone who's going to be responsive.
So if you're a little HM, then maybe you need to find somebody that's like
patient and accepting of that, and is okay with changes, and is not going to charge you for every stinking little change. And
there is a good relationship there.
You need to have a strong relationship.
There's value to that, and you don't know that value until you really
until it hits the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when it really starts to get ugly, if God forbid something goes wrong, then that's when anybody can do some of this stuff when everything goes right. But when something goes wrong, that's when a good contractor is worth their weight in gold.
Right.
Because they don't freak out. They can calmly, fix the problem, address the issues, have plan A, plan B, plan C. Someone who can just keep rolling rather than,
Well, and it also works to keep this in line, because usually where a problem begins is where there's a misunderstanding. And so making your choices up front and deciding those things up front and having everything in writing, and it's not necessarily for protection, it's more for clarity.
Yes.
And sometimes when let's just say you as the consumer have to write it down and then you share it with the contractor, sometimes they may, okay, there's some gaps here.
Right.
Do you want shoe molding? Do you want this? Do you want that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't think of that. So I want that. And then you can finalize an agreement or whatever, that just a path of what you're going to do. And it's also nice because it benefits the contractor, because if they can be more efficient, that also helps their cost.
It keeps they can help keep you on target too.
Right.
So having a good working relationship with your contractor, he or she will be able to say, hey, I know you really like XYZ, but you're kind of working on you're really running your budget out, and a good contractor will say, this XYZ is going to cost you this much. Are you still okay with that? Rather than a contractor who's only in it for the right thing or the wrong thing and says, oh, well, sure, we'll do that. And don't present you with the bill till the end. Yeah.
And then also you're like, do I want to remodel the whole thing, or do I want to build new?
Yeah.
Get with us on that, because we have some great builders where you could just build everything from scratch.
Yep.
So, just get out the drawing plans and play with that.
Yes.
So
as long as you're patient.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to take some time.
Any closing thoughts?
Don't be afraid to renovate. And be sure that if you are going to renovate before you try to sell, that you get with your realtor so you don't put more money out than you need to, and you don't leave any on the table. So if you have plans, there are programs that some realtors like us have that can help you pay for some of these renovations and pay them off at closing. So a good realtor has a lot of tools in their tool belt. And I think it's really important to discuss these things if you are planning, a sale in the next few years, or if you're planning a sale and you just want some advice on, do I need to fix this? That's the place, a realtor's who you need to talk to.
Yeah, that's a good point. With Compass, we have a program that we actually pay in advance all the rehabbing, and then you pay. It's really simple. You just pay at closing. Yeah. So it's essentially a loan, right? But you pay for it all at closing.
Less stress.
And I do want to add one more thing, because we were talking about a bunch of renovation projects, and if you're staying in the home, you're just wanting to renovate. Obviously, if you have the cash on hand, that's fine. But also using if you have equity in the home, they have the HELOC loans. Yep. And that's the right way to use a HELOC loan, because you're actually putting it in
back into the house. Yep.
So, I've seen some people get HELOC loans to buy ATM. Motorcycles.
Yeah, like it's an ATM. Yeah,
right,
and then it goes to sell and you're over. Yeah. If you're going to use a HELOC, use it for something that is going to benefit the equity of the home.
Well, great. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, if you have any questions or any comments, don't hesitate to reach below or comment below, and I'll have Michelle and my information below. And thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Bye.